We're running a little bit long, but gotta finish it.
My bad. That's it. Have a good night.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, but we just gotta keep it fair. But okay, thank you both for your candor. That would be the conclusion of the debate. Judges will be able to finalize their scores, and we're gonna put up the audience poll.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit of time. Next debate is going to be Sinlith versus Sinlith, a newcomer, versus Heisenblurb on is there an intelligent designer to biological life? So we'll do some Q&A before that, and that's starting at 9:38. So we've got like
solid amount of time here.
Solid amount of time for like Q&A.
And I apologize to everybody for how shitty that was. I take full responsibility for not preparing properly.
Oh yeah, and
I'm
look,
sorry.
like,
I'm sorry.
That's my fault. Especially, I want to apologize to Haru because he wanted to take this and I took it and then I fell asleep. So that's super apology to Haru.
No, it's totally fine. We just had to do a quick replacement because life happens, right? And Forrest was willing to step up and take the replacement. And so everyone who just watched the performance, just keep in mind that Forrest was coming into this debate today, right, to do a quick replacement. And that's really it. But there are
no excuses. I took the debate at 5:30. I had 2 hours to prepare. I thought I could fucking fall asleep for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I've set 3 alarms and I just overslept.
Yeah, the poll is up, by the way. I have the poll up. This time I'm gonna try to make sure.
I like this new format for voting. I think it's much more clear, and it also shows that if somebody's gonna lie about their contention with the topic or the person that's debating, because I think it's more important to change the other people's mind than to garner the vote of somebody who would have already voted for you.
But Missy, were you wanting to be the first guest up to do comments, questions, or concerns?
Are we doing judging after your 45-minute Q&A?
No. We'll do the judging now. No,
we can do it either way. Yeah.
Before the Q&A.
Oh, we're doing judges and poll. Nice.
Yeah. The judging is what counts, though. So.
Oh shit.
Well.
Yeah. We're all ready, so we kind of want to we collectively want to get this over with. I'm going to be honest, I have some choice words to say about both of your performances, but I'll keep it professional, keep it classy. We'll start off with wisdom. I wrote down like the formal form of the argument, which seemed to be using disjunction introduction, which was something like if P, then either P or Q, and then we said a not be negated the antecedent member, which was that the Bible is not inherently harmful, and then be affirmed P, which is that it's contingent on other things. Well, I mean, my main critique, and we've all decided to split this up evenly, is that, well, this is just formally invalid because presumably, well, for material implications, which is the second part or the first part of introduction, the sort of truth table that exists, and Google this after if you'd like, is that if P is true, and Q is true, then the statement if P then Q is true. If P is false and Q is true, then the statement if P then Q is false. If Q is false and P is true, then the statement if P then Q is true. And if they're both false, then the statement if P is Q is true. So clearly, if you affirm that Q is false and P is true, then the statement, the implication itself is false. So I'm not sure what that was to do there, but considering you weren't burdened to levy an argument, I'll let the formal fallacies fly. For Forrest, you just didn't make an argument formally, which I was disappointed by, and the natural language argument you delivered was just inadequate. It didn't meet the burden that for all Christian teachings, it's necessary that they cause harm. So I don't want to say anybody won in lieu of two serious blunders, but because she wasn't burdened to produce an argument then I'm going to say wisdom took it.
Oh, okay. So are you saying that you don't want to say who won, but then you're also saying that wisdom took it if you had to pick one?
Oh yeah, if I absolutely have to pick one, because wisdom wasn't burdened to give any argument at all, even though she gave a formally invalid one, she can take it because the
So
burden wasn't established as
did
true.
she win by default, or do you abstain from voting?
Yeah.
Because
If I can
you're talking
abstain,
out of
I'd
both sides of
rather
your mouth.
abstain because it was
Okay.
like two terrible
I'd rather you
blunders.
abstain than vote for my opponent. Clearly.
No, well, I guess we'll just keep that as a neutral.
Oh, Coco,
No,
like,
no,
am I
no,
able to vote
no,
neutral
no.
or do I have to vote?
No,
What do you
I'd
think?
rather, I'd
AR?
rather you have, no, I'd rather you have to like choose if you have to choose, you know?
See, that's.
Okay, well,
I
if I
feel like
have to
if he.
choose, then it's wisdom.
Okay.
No. Like it has like we have three judges. Like we need like at least one of like you know what I'm saying. Like we have to have it so that we avoid like some sort of like impasse.
Pie or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, just Jim or Kason.
Yeah.
You guys have-
Yeah, I'll make mine pretty quick. So the topic is is Christian teaching inherently harmful to children? I think that it's extremely hard to argue that teachings are inherently anything in general. And the typical like examples that Forrest gave, I don't think worked for the conclusion that he was trying to argue for. Like he wants to say something like, it's generally bad to teach people false things. Genesis is a story filled with false teachings, and so it's harmful to teach children about those stories. Well, that doesn't mean that it's inherently harmful, because there's an extra condition that would need to be added there, and it's a particular approach towards the text. Obviously, it would only be harmful if these kids are reading Genesis through the lens of some like sort of literal interpretation. And that could very well be harmful, but that wouldn't show that it's inherently harmful. And so I would just say that the conclusion that Forrest was ultimately trying to argue for didn't work. So I think wisdom won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's basically that.
Just Jim, you want to give your ruling?
Yeah, so the problem with formulating a debate proposition as a question is that it becomes unclear. Propositions are statements that are truth out. And so therefore they should be formulated in a way that one party has a burden to prove or disprove it. Because of that, and because of the fact that throughout this whole debate, neither Forrest nor Wisdom actually stuck to the debate proposition, right? I'm going to vote a draw. On the case of Wisdom, she conflated Christian teachings, which is understood as the doctrines within Christianity, with Christian education. That's not what the topic was about. Plus, the study that she provided was a study on university students, not on children, which is a topic. So I don't think she argued for the topic. Forrest did not present an argument for the topic either, because he didn't talk about Christian teachings. What he talked about were stories in the Bible and how they were harmful to the children in the stories, not how the teachings or the doctrine of Christianity is harmful to children. So because of that, I'm going to call it a draw for both of them. None of them actually debated the topic.
Okay. And with that being said, have we started the poll? Did we do the poll? Or you want to start that, AR? And
Yeah, I already with the poll. I already started it and I already ended it. I took the screenshots of the poll, and I can give the results if you want me to give it.
okay.
I don't know how you can say that destroying children isn't inherently harmful.
He's the one that took it to education. Everybody keeps saying that I conflated those two things. When he and you can
Clearly
go
you didn't.
back to hold on, please. When you can go back to your opening statement and you started bringing up Genesis and children and the things that they were being taught, et cetera, et cetera. So you actually did kind of frame it in this manner, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I think that it would be disingenuous to say that Christian education is not, going to run in a debate with the topic Christian teaching. I think that that's a little bit
Is
disingenuous.
it inherently harmful to teach children lies? Yes or no?
So to make
And no,
room,
Forrest, the topic is
guys,
not is
guys,
it
guys, guys, we're
inherently
not gonna
topic.
hold on, guys,
That's
hold on.
not the topic.
Yeah, so
Okay, yeah.
make room for people who want questions. I'm going to, well, first Missy, I guess, wants to say something, and then we're gonna get to people in the chat who wants to ask questions. So go ahead, Missy, and say what you're gonna say, and then we're gonna get to the questions.
Hi, everybody who's in here. I was originally going to say this, but I had a medical thing, so if I sound kind of shaky and my voice kind of like goes off, but I'm going to just say that I was making the affirmative Christian doctrine, not Christian education, Christian doctrine teaching is inherently harmful to children. Now, wisdom, if you were interested in talking about that, I would love to. But that is my original point. Mm.
I don't know. We'd have to talk about what that is and what that means because because you can almost say I can say to you that water is harmful and then show you studies where people have been harmed by water. So if the intent is just to show where some people have been harmed by Christian practices, then that's going to be
That's not my claim.
so what would the claim actually?
Yeah, so that Christian doctrine is inherently harmful to children.
So then that means that inherently, again, the same thing that I said to Forrest, inherently meaning essential. That
yes,
all the
meaning
time,
that it's necessary to the set.
That every single time, right? Every
Yes.
single time, 100% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
the person being taught is going to be harmed.
That's not the definition of inherent. So the inherent in here, it's going to be Christian teachings are inherent. So the teachings being inherent to Christianity is what's causing the harm. It's not going to be
So what is the debate? Is the okay? So wait. Is the debate that the
hold on.
harm is inherent or that teaching Christians are inherent?
Wait,
Those are two different things.
Also, really quick,
We can flesh this out. We can flesh this out in private, and then right now we have to get to the questions.
And also, yeah. Look, it's totally fine. Like, today, like, an emergency happened, and Missy, we all want you to rest. We want you to recover and be in your better health. So don't overexert yourself. And yeah, we care about your health. Like, honestly, like, fuck the debate, right? We don't give a fuck about the debate. We care about
I
like
just
people.
want to say sorry.
You
had
don't need to
prepared,
apologize literally at all. Like, the debate doesn't matter. Like, we want you alive and like well, right? So like, fuck the debate. We don't give a fuck about that. Yeah, we understand. It happens, and yeah, we don't want you to overexert yourself.
Yeah, but if you would like to have the conversation about doctrine being inherently harmful, I would love to potentially.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it, sister. I hope you feel better though, for real.
Yeah, well,
Thanks.
yeah, that's something
Thanks.
that we could talk about in private. Like right now, we're just asking questions about the debate itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We're gonna have a group chat about it and see where we can set the debate up.
Yeah, well,
Okay, but thank you, Macy, for coming up.
Thanks.
I'm sorry you're sick.
No,
Thank you.
no, it's okay.
Feel better.
Okay. Right. I think right here, right now, we requested our first before Mitch. Then so.
Well, Mitch, I'm glad to let you go first. You probably have better stuff to say than me, so go ahead.
Wanted to know if either Wisdom or both Wisdom and Forrest could give like a Christian teaching. See if you understood the prompt.
So I don't know. So I'm negative. So my whole thing is just to negate that Christian teaching in general is harmful, just to show that it's not inherently harmful. As far as Forrest,
But Mitch is asking, showing what isn't inherently harmful. Like, what's an example of a Christian teaching?
oh, what's an example of a Christian teaching? Oh, I would say the kingdom of God, loving your neighbor and building up the kingdom of God. The real priesthood, I would say, essentially.
Right, that's a Christian teaching for sure. What about you, Forrest?
Yeah, one Christian teaching would be that if a child is rebellious, that you should take them into the center of the town and stone them.
Didn't either of you talk about Christian teachings, if you can both give them?
I guess, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not making any excuses. I lost by the judge's decision fair and square. I won the audience vote, as I'm always going to do, because it's a inherently atheist, room. However, it is a Christian teaching that the Bible story in Genesis happened in which children were harmed. That is what the main thing that I went to, because I could stick to that. She admitted that she believes that as well.
But again, me believing in the Genesis story has no bearing on the topic, and your understanding of the Genesis story also has no bearing on the topic. But
that it happened and that all children were destroyed.
Okay, wait. We're not having another debate within the debate, right? We're just asking questions and answering.
Question. Thank you,
Yes,
Mitch.
yes.
I appreciate your expertise.
So yeah, along the lines with what Jim was saying, another thing that didn't happen that I look forward to when I listen to debates is if Christian teaching was defined, if inherently was defined, if harmful was defined, children being defined would have helped. That way you can point out when your interlocutor is equivocating, right? It would be easy to say that wisdom, you're talking about public education when I mean teachings like doctrine, if that would have been established in the beginning, right? But when I'm thinking of inherently, and this leads to my question, I'm thinking of something like intrinsic properties, accidental properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like necessary criteria, right? Or like an essential property of like a triangle that it has three sides or something like that, right?
correct.
So my question is to you, Forrest. If an inherent trait of an apple is that it has seeds, right? But not that it's red, because apples can be like red or green or something, right? If we're taking that analogy over to Christianity, do you think that you showed that what makes Christianity what it is harmful, or things that are added are harmful?
Say added, do you mean things that are outside of the Bible? I'm sorry.
Saying like, is it being harmful inherent, like an intrinsic property? It's in virtue of the way that it is, and not because of some outside condition.
Yeah, I don't think that anything, well, besides the fact that it's like psychologically damaging, I think that when I stuck to the actual teachings of the Bible, the Christian teachings inside the Bible, such as Genesis, I think that that's when I comported with it. I can understand your analogy, and I do think that it's a good one. I think that I stuck both inside of the proposition of the apple and outside. I tried to go in and outside of the characteristics of the seeds in the apple.
I do have more stuff I want to say, but I respect you guys' time. Thanks.
For sure.
Yeah, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Who's the next question?
Solovino.
I've got one. Yeah.
Solovino. Yeah, Solovino.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
before you go, hold on. Wait, Coco, when's the next debate so I could like be prepared for that?
It's gonna start at 9:38 if my memory serves me right.
Yeah. I mean, we could start it earlier. It's still here.
Almost done.
And why does? Oh my God. I think the other guy, Hammy, was waiting first, but I guess you could bring up Shark too. It doesn't matter. Okay. Lavino, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lavino.
Yeah. So my intention here is just to ask a question to both of the debaters and not like give any responses. I just want to hear what their responses are to my questions. So the first one would be to Wisdom. So I appreciated the fact that you brought in the Cardis survey. So it's nice to have some sort of data to back up whatever it is you're trying to debate for. But I kind of wonder if like that particular survey doesn't actually like deeply evaluate things like eternal or I'm not eternal, but like internal harm, such as guilt, like anxiety, things that wouldn't show up on a survey. So while I think it's an interesting like test study, wouldn't it be more accurate to say that the survey measures the outcomes of Christian schooling models rather than inherent effects of teaching Christianity itself?
I mean, but I think when you look at how it measured their overall quality of life, so their happiness, these things that extend, and I think a lot of people were confused when it said graduates. They weren't talking about college graduates. So these would have been high school graduates. So Yes, this actually is the population that we were looking at. And when you see that those children were happier and were getting along better in life than their public school counterparts, then the resolution itself would have to be negated. Because if Christian education were inherently harmful, then you would not see that sort of study. You would see the flip, where Christian kids that are in Christian education consistently score and perform underneath their secular counterpart.
Okay. And my question for Forrest would be, do you think that there's an important difference between teaching children what Christianity is versus teaching them that Christianity is true and must be followed? And if so, wouldn't that suggest that the potential for harm really does sort of depend on more on how it's taught rather than just the religion in and of itself?
Yeah, so I think that's where the inherently part comes in. We could have done a better job of fleshing that out at the very beginning, maybe in our first cross-examination. I do believe that it does depend on who's teaching it. For example, if you look at the different denominations throughout Christianity, she was alluding to the racism. Let's talk about Mormons' belief. They believe that you shouldn't talk to Native Americans or people of the darkest melatonin. So I think that it does depend on the person who is teaching it, which denomination, which faith, and how they apply the Bible. And I think that, yes, that's a very good question. I do think it's more on the person that's teaching it and how they're being taught. It's not necessarily an overarching theme for the entire, umbrella of Christianity, but there are harmful aspects depending on who is teaching what, kind of like she was alluding to, my interpretation. I'll land there.
Well, thank you both. Good job to both of you. Forrest, I'm sorry, you're a bud. I was rooting for you, but I had to vote against you. But I know that you had a little. You had very little time to prepare. So I would say good job to both of you. And I think that we could come away with all having learned something from this particular engagement.
Yeah, how to flesh things out properly at the beginning. Therefore. Yeah. Moving us in a further direction instead of closer instead of away from each other.
Appreciate it. Later.
Yep. Amy, what you got for
B1, B2.
Yes.
Points.
Sorry.
I don't even know.
Okay. So kind of like what Solo just did, I want to ask a question to each candidate and not give any feedback about it. And I will start with Wisdom. Wisdom. Well, hold on before I do that. Forrest, I do want to correct you on something. It's not melatonin, it's melanin. But anyways, Wisdom. Whenever we look at some of the Christian teachings, such as the fact that we are wretched souls that need the ultimate Savior to help us, and things such as teachings like, for instance, that we know them by the fruit. Whenever we take into account that believers use this as a way to kind of discriminate and other people into who's good and bad, would you not classify that as inherent? Well, this is like inherent to the teachings, but would you not classify that as harmful?
So I don't.
No, that's just for Wisdom. I've got one specific for you, Forrest.
Right. I would just redirect you to the scripture that says that we as Christians are not respecter of persons. So anything that's being misconstrued, I would just take you right back to where Christ said we are not to be respecter of persons, and that we are all, there's no male, there's no female, there's no Gentile, there's no Jew, there's none of that. We are all just one with the Spirit of Christ.
No, I'm a female.
That was my 7-year-old.
A child understands. Even a child understands.
Well,
if you take one fucking clip, take that.
Hey, knowing that my child is listening, why would you say that, Forrest? But then also, wouldn't that just negate the resolution? Because my child clearly thinks for herself.
Yeah, let's not curse. Her child's nearby. But
Thank you. Thank you, Wisdom, for the answer. Now, Forrest, I'm taking this with all consideration that you did come unprepared and last minute. And I love you, brother, but whenever we have things like people who tell their children that Santa, that like they got a gift from Santa, can we honestly say that lying to children in all instances is inherently harmful?
Harmful in all instances, no, which is part of, once again, the original question, teaching and inherently. But I do believe that it is inherently harmful when there can be no moral justification, especially when what I alluded to in Genesis 6, where everyone is unalived, including children, for an unjustified purpose, because they were only given 2 commandments at that point, which I also alluded to be fruitful and multiply, and not to eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And none of the people on earth were violating those commandments. So it's unjustified to unalive everyone, including anyone who would be considered, by the prompt, a child, for the actions that they did not commit. But yes, I do understand that there are propositions in which lying or a white lie to a child might not be as harmful as it would be positive for their life.
Thank you. And I will say that I did not watch a great majority of the debate because I was otherwise detained. But I did see the little bit, and I really wish you had more time to prepare, Forrest. I think that this would have been a very decent debate if you had that time and y'all stayed on topic.
All right. Thank you for your questions. Is there anybody else, or I think that's it, right?
we got, we got.
What about you, Coco? Ask a question.
I don't really have any questions.
Or Dwight. Dwight's up here.
Dwight.
No,
Sorry.
Dwight is replacing Kaysen as a judge, by the way, guys. Okay, Kaysen had to leave. So
Degree did offer to be a genuine judge. The chances of that happening are less than 0.
Who?
Admitted out loud.
Oh, no.
Many different people.
We have the unbiased judges that we have today. So.
No, I don't agree. I don't disagree with anything that anybody said, but I feel like if Jim was able to abstain, Soren should be able to too. I'm not saying that I met the burden of proof. I didn't have, obviously my A game. I fell asleep, but I still think that Soren should be able to retract. But that's it. I mean, I lost clearly by the judge's decision and won by the other, so I'll take the time.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, wait. So we have Sinleth and Heisenberg next, right, Coco? So I'm gonna put the prompt up for that.
Yeah. And you guys, you may want to look for a theist judge just in case Heisenberg is not comfortable with me judging, because him and I have had dark conversations very, very recently, like in fact last weekend.